Hey, I'm DJ Boring and I'm here with Future Music and in my little haven, my studio, and I'm going to chat to you about a few things. When I created the mix, it went through two different versions. I had this idea of having a really clubby, from start to finish, just dance mix. And I went back and thought all the DJ kicks that I've ever listened to, Moody Man, Motor City Drum Ensemble, all of them had the best kind of progressive at-home listening to club, and I knew that I had to rethink and go back to the drawing board of how I wanted to portray that mix, and I did it in the way that I would want to do, how I would see my day. You know, listen to ambient music, get myself into the mood, then listen to a bit of jazz, a bit of house music, then techno, trance. Like, that is exactly how I portray that in my DJ kicks. The inspiration for You Luv Me was a bit of a homage to 2006 to 2008 electro music from Australia. Ministry of Sound, The Annual was a huge inspiration. The sounds, the bit of Daft Punk, which I really loved, and I haven't been able to quite portray it in a way that is still very me. And that was the first track that I felt very, very happy that, like, it sounds how I wanted a track to sound. And I really, really love how You Luv Me turned out. The inspiration for N15 was a bit of where we are right now in my studio is in Tottenham, and the postcode is N15, and I wanted to, it's quite rough around here, the industrial vibe. I wanted it to be very punchy, quite speed garagey, but still always revert back to me, because I don't want songs to not really sound like me. I want them to be very, someone hears that and goes, I can see that's DJ Boring. That's why. There was a lot of experimentation with You Luv Me, I think. Learning to really widen my music. I used a lot of effects on vocals and vocal techniques that I've never really done before. I'm not really known to have vocals in tracks, and this was like a great example of me trying to do something that isn't like a vocal house hit or something, and just more me playing around with vocals. M15 is like a completely different style of music making for me. So yeah, I think it's both the tracks had a lot of new ways of me producing, which I'm not really familiar with. And even just before, when I was having a look at the projects, I've kind of forgotten how I've even made a lot of them, and I want to learn how I did that again, you know? I didn't have a studio. Yeah. I didn't really have the money to buy any kit. I think the only bit of kit that I had just before Winona was the Korg Micro Korg, sorry, yeah. And even then I didn't even use it. I just bought it, I had it, and then got rid of it. And Winona was made 100% in the box, and I don't know how I could even do that today. Like, everything in box kind of scares me. I like everything outside, and I think the first bit of kit I got was the TR8S, TR8, which is in there. It's my live drum machine, but yeah, it was the only piece of kit that I had at first. There's a sense of realness, not even just like in sound, but in automating the cutoffs on the Prophet. It's real. It's not just like so perfectly blended with automation. You're doing that cutoff yourself. which is great. Sometimes I emulate different sounds on the decays on hi-hats on my drum machines. It just has that bit more of that's a real song. I don't doubt, I mean, I don't think people who only use the in the box is wrong. I think just for me, I just need to have the feeling of turning something, because I perform my music live, and that's how I make my music, is performing it live, and I need to know how to do that. So the first one would definitely be the Prophet. I love this synth, is just so warm and perfect for pads, and there's some great leads on it which I really love. So this would be number one. I'm tossing up between either keeping the Moog grandmother or the Peak. Both are like my second favorite synths. It's like my first child, my third and second child, but I see they're twins actually. Yeah, it's hard. Both very different synths, but I'd probably stick with the Peak. That was like my first synthesizer as DJ Boring that I got, and I love it so much, and I to this day use it in my live shows, my productions, everything. And if I pick a third one, can it be something that's connected to each other? Okay, cool. Well, then the third thing that I'd keep is my sync cushion linked up to my delay pedal. It's how I make a lot of blip grooves and weird sounds and transitions. So yeah, I mean, it's right here with me all the time. So I can't get rid of it. It's, yeah, those three. They're my, but then again, I chose these because I was put on the spot. It might change in like 20 minutes. I'm a start with a preset and bend it, because I know a little bit about synthesis, but not enough for me to really create something from scratch. Software, since I can do a lot better, even though it's really the same thing, but it's a bit easier. I'll grab a sound from, let's say, the Prophet, and then I'll run it through heaps of effects in the box, or even outside. I've got a few reverbs and stuff, but a lot of the processing will be definitely done in my laptop. And yeah, screw up a preset. That's yeah, I love that. It's not really I've got two. It's not really a tech. It's like more of just like a signature sound that I do in stuff. Is I always take off in sections of a track the first beat, and a lot of so if the full track is like the square, I'll take the first part and then come back on the clap, but then bring in a sound that kind of sounds like or a little tiny vocal that just, it will always kind of sound like a song that I've made, that there's something like that. Or like just before it's about to kick, I'll do no kick and then come in. I love doing that. And then I'm really into long delays and using delays as a groove. I do that in a lot of tracks, and I will continue doing that. It's just like one thing that I think is, the person who taught me that was Fritz Wentink, and they are the best person at doing that kind of stuff. Just the delay, and then the beat on top is incredible. And that's like, I'm not saying it's my technique, but it is a technique that I'll always do. When I made Like Water, I remember that track was just primarily just a song. It wasn't supposed to be a dance track. And I remember watching the guy from the producer of G6, and he had this bell sound. It was ding, 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 ding. and then he accidentally dropped it into the bass, and then that's how they got the iconic bass sound. And I did the same thing. I just, instead of the bass and stuff, I chucked in a kick. There was always hi-hats and like percussion bits, but I put in a kick because I was like, I wonder how this sounds. It sounded incredible. Well, that's weird me saying that I thought my music was incredible, but I'm saying it elevated the track 10 times better. And I just will always now kind of start making music that doesn't have a kick and see where it goes. And now, yeah. Guy from Disclosure showed me this great website, and it's called Samplet, and it is just a YouTube randomizer, and you can search different areas like genres, key, subgenres as well, which is super niche. And then you just keep clicking random until you find a sample that you like. I obviously use Splice a lot, but I like to not use Splice in its entire, like a sample as a full. I like to chop it up, take a lot of percussion, and then process it myself in a different plugin or drum rack in Ableton. And yeah. I love this new one from Baby Audio and Andrew Huang, which is called Transit. I use it on all my drums and basically use it to make these weird transitional sounds where it's take the kick out and then all the hi-hats will be kind of mashed up and made to sound really weird. And then I realized that I could put that on vocals, and I've used it on a lot of tracks recently, like You Love Me. All the vocals in You Love Me have Transit on it, and that's like one of my favorite plugins. And then recently I just got Reason, or not recently, but I got Reason like last year as the VST format, not the DAW, and it's a game changer. Because back when I first got Ableton, I used to rewire Reason, because I used Reason first as my my DAW, and now I'm happy that I can use Reason in all its sounds again, which is really great. And now that they have the Reason companion, there's like great little synths patches that people have made. Like I'm using this one at the moment that's a Dead Mouse recreation. It's amazing. When I first got into Reason, it was super complex. I mean, it still is, like, in my eyes, like how everything was out there, having everything in combinators and then having things patched was just like having to click tab and then wire the compressor into the synth was just so confusing, and I didn't like it. And then my friend showed me Ableton. He was like, this is how you do a sidechain. And I was like, that's amazing, I need that. And I just got into Ableton because of sidechaining. So a lot of people have templates for their Ableton sessions, and my template is quite possibly the worst template. It's just a kick drum. And so I will click open new project, kick drum, press kick. I'll open an external instrument, start jamming with the chords, bring it into the MIDI over here, and then I'll jam in some zips and zaps. Then I'll use the machine for other percussion bits, hi-hat grooves. And yeah, it's just a constant flow, and I don't like stopping and starting and like taking longs. I always have the music kind of playing, and then I'll just start playing with the clips on my APC 40, and it helps me later on because I will play that song live somewhere, and that's how I knew that I like can play it live, is because I was jamming it for so long. I mean, it's all the same. I struggle. I'm not a great arranger. Takes me ages to get out of the jam session. What I'll do sometimes is I'll jam in live the drop, so the main drop, and then I'll work around that. I'll build a bridge to the second drop and then create an intro and an outro from there. But it's always jam in the first two drops just so I know what I'm presenting. And then, yeah, spend 4 months trying to do the rest. I think if I could choose one piece of kit, it would be an original Wasp. That would be quite cool. I've got the Behringer one, but an original Wasp from like the 70s would be awesome. I saw one and it just was, it had the craziest like sounds, and that's why I bought that, and then it didn't quite sound the same. And I was just like, damn. But still, it's still good, and it's great to use. Or it's cheap, and I will buy one soon. But the JP8080, it's an old classic trance synth from Roland. That's it's probably one of the best synths ever. I just haven't bought it yet, but I will buy it. Spray uses it a lot. It's got great big saw vibes. It's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, my advice would be try and be as unique to yourself as possible. I understand it's hard to be unique now, but you can definitely take inspiration from others and then do it in your own way. I do. I mean, no one is genuinely unique. But we all have our quirks that I think is so important. And yeah, I just think be true to yourself of what you want to sound like, and not try and just make a song that sounds like DJ Boring or someone else. Like, try and make it sound like it and then bring in your own vibe to it.